You have the miniatures, which I don't typically buy games for miniatures. This one, actually, no, I bought it truthfully for the metal coins.
Welcome to Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples, a channel of conversation and board games.
Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Today we are looking at tiny dragons. Kind of. We're looking at Flamecraft, a game, a worker placement dragon worker placement dragon, something like that, game all about collecting meat and bread and potions and diamonds and iron and leaves. Today we are looking at Flamecraft. Let me show you how this one plays in the radar overview. Final forecast coming up first. Cue the thunder. So, the radar overview for Flamecraft, a worker placement dragon game with absolutely amazing artwork and fantastic components. And speaking of components, I will say that this is the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition with the upgraded metal coins because you know me, I absolutely need metal coins. It also has some screen printed resources, which are fantastic. Came with these fantastic miniature dragons. I typically don't buy games because of miniatures, but I will say this one, well, the metal coins is what enticed me with the deluxe edition. But these things are absolutely fantastic. Each player would get, oh, here's the last one. Each player would get one of these and a matching scoring track token, which is a heart, because in this game, hearts are victory points. If you don't have the deluxe edition, this would be your token or your player pawn, which is still pretty sweet. It's screen printed dragon, but this is how you play. This is going to be like a rough overview of how you play Flamecraft. I'll show you this. The board isn't actually a board. It's stitched neoprene mat, which is quite long. So I'm not going to show you the whole board, but this will just be like an overview of how to play the game. Each player, like I said, gets their starting dragon. They would also get a player aid, which these are very nice. So if you go to a shop, you can either gather or enchant. And so if I would go here, I would gather. At that point, I could take everything that the shop offers, as well as each of the dragons. So in this case, I would get a leaf, and I would also get a leaf from the dragon that is there. At that point, I can then place a dragon and gain the reward. So each shop can have 3 different dragons in it. In this case, I could put either another leaf or bread dragon in this spot, or bread dragon in this spot. Let's just say I'm going to put cookie over here because I want another fancy dragon. You start with a fancy dragon. You can pick from in the beginning, and these are, you know, end game scoring or, you know, private objectives. Let's just say that they're private objectives. And so I would then put cookie there, and then I would get to have another fancy dragon. And Pinky Toe here would score sometime during the game, as noted by the sun. And any time in the game, I can pay 5 meat tokens to gain 3 hearts and 2 coins. And coins are like a wild resource. So I will keep this in my supply, and then I may fire up a dragon. Step 3. May fire up 1 dragon here. So I could either fire up Twig and give one of my resources to another player for 2 victory points, or I could draw another dragon card from either the top of the artisan deck or any of the 5 that are face up in the park. Let's just say I'm just going to give, you know, my Twig away, and I would gain 2 victory points as noted on this scoring track. You just go around. Anytime you get over 50, you flip your token over to show that you have more than 50 points. But that's what I would do. And then I could use the shop ability if there is one. In this case, this shop does not have an ability. But in the game, you get a whole bunch of shops. These are extra Kickstarter ones, so I won't show you those. But lots of these, this is also a Kickstarter one, but Spice Town, I love it. You know, it may have a special ability. So collect 1 good from each dragon in the park, or you can fire up all of one type. So then you look at the 5 available. In this case, there's 5 different ones, so I could get one of each of the resources. Whereas, let's say this one, I gain 2 times reward from an empty slot here, or 2 times the dragon of all dragon goods there. So if there's lots of dragons there, then you get twice the amount of goods. Pay 1 coin for 3 hearts. Then you may gift 1 coin to another player for another 4 hearts. So some of these shops have some really, really cool special abilities that you can use. Lose 3 hearts to gain 3 coins, or pay 2 coins to gain 6 hearts. So that's the last thing that you can do when you gather at a shop. And I will say you only use like 10 of these besides the starting shops each game. So there's so many of them. There's close to 30 of them that every game is going to feel rather different depending on which shops come out. But after you do that, that would be your turn. Say I go to here on a future turn, and instead of gathering, I want to enchant. And when you enchant, you're trading in these resources because you're collecting these resources for what reason? Well, when you enchant, you take one of these face-up enchantment cards, and then you pay the resources. So in this case, if I have a set of 1 diamond and 1 meat, I get 0 hearts. If I have 2 of each, I get 2. 4 of each, I get 8 hearts. And you can go and enchant this type of shop. So I could enchant here. So I'll just show you this. If I enchant, I would I'd trade those resources and get the victory points or hearts, and then I would add that to the shop. So I'm making that shop better for me to go to another time, or for my opponents to go to. And then after you enchant, then you may fire up all of the dragons there, any number of dragons. So then I could do Twig as well as Cookie, and if there was, if Pan was there as well in this shop, I could fire him up as well. So when you enchant, you're going to be using those resources you've been collecting to do some pretty big turns, because all these dragons, they do different things. All the bread dragons, they'll all draw cards. All the leaf dragons, they'll all give resources away for victory points. But then you also have, the potion dragon. You can swap with a dragon in town and fire that one up. So maybe you're going to swap with Opal Wing, which is like a diamond dragon, to gain 3 different goods, or a meat dragon, Flambe, to place a dragon in town. So if you fire up a meat dragon, then instead of having to go to a shop to place a dragon, I could place this dragon in this one to make that shop better, and I would also get a victory point at that point. And then there's also Flint, the Iron Dragon. You gain 2 of one of the 1 good from the shop, or dragon here. So if this guy was here, I could either take 2 leaves, 2 iron, or 2 bread. So that's how all the different dragons work. There's 6 different types. Anytime a shop is full, that's when you would open up a new shop, and then there would be new places. This you could then, if you went there, you get a diamond, and then you could put either any dragon here for 2 victory points, or an iron or a diamond dragon, either one of these slots, for 3 victory points. And then anytime a shop is full, you add another shop, and then at the end of the game, there's more and more shops and more different like engines. They're not engines, but you go to different shops and you get this and you get that, and you can use this to activate this to get 2 more, and you can get more and more. The game ends when all these enchantment cards have been revealed, or when this artisan dragon deck runs out. You'd score all your victory points, and then you'd also then score any of these special fancy dragons, any endgame scoring that you held on to. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. And so that in a nutshell is how to play Flamecraft. I will say that the rulebook is very, very well laid out. It makes sense. It has, all the things like ending your turn, how to expand the town, things like that. And then it also has, the abilities and kind of an appendix of what all the abilities, what the clarifications, all these shops, what are the clarifications of all these shop abilities. And then the fancy dragons, you may have a question about those. It has all of that. So a lot of stuff that's just really just laid out really well. There's a solo mode. I haven't played that, but that in a nutshell is how you play Flamecraft. Let's move on over and now check out the final forecast. So the final forecast for Flamecraft, a worker dragon placement, dragon worker placement game. Let's just start off. The production of the game is seriously like bonkers good. It is unbelievable. You got the stitched mat, which, okay, I'm coming back to that momentarily. But I have the deluxe upgraded components, but you got all these tokens. You have the miniatures, which I don't typically buy games for miniatures. This one, actually, no, I bought it truthfully for the metal coins, and I got the miniatures. But everything about this game looks absolutely fantastic. And worker placement is my favorite game mechanic. I realized that kind of a couple years ago. Everdell really solidified that, you know, the 3rd century game. Little Town, there's a bunch. Ask for Troubles. There's a bunch that solidified that worker placement is my favorite game mechanic. But this game is an absolute delight to play. Production's great. It's just fun seeing that board just build up and more shops become available. And there's a whole bunch of shops in this game. Like, I know, I will also say, I mentioned it, this is the deluxe version, so I don't know how many of these shops are in just like the retail version versus this version. But there are so many of these shops, and you only use a certain amount every game. And so every game is going to feel quite different depending on which shops come out. And I like some of the special abilities that they have. Nunya Beeswax, gain 1 victory point or one coin token per dragon here, or pay 1 coin to fire up all dragons here. So, you know, gain 3 coins if it's like a full shop, or pay 1 coin to do 3 different things. And at that point, you're manipulating the board by, you know, maybe swapping this dragon with that dragon and activating that to put a dragon here, and that gets you another reward. And there's just so many fun and satisfying combos that arise in this game as you build up the shop. And the artwork is just amazing, and it's just a delight that, you know, it is. It's a competitive game, but just the theme of it is, we're going to compete, but we're still going to have fun. Because I think of like the Leaf Dragon, you're getting victory points for giving resources away. Or you go to another shop and you have to give resources away. So resources are going to be moving around the table in that regard. Just overall, I enjoy all the shops. The mat I will get back to momentarily, but I like the enchantment deck. I think some of these enchantment decks are a little bit better than others. Or sorry, not decks. Some of the cards are better than others. Like trading in, you know, like 5 different resources for 4 points and 1 fancy dragon. Whereas some of them you can, let's see if I can find one of these here. Like the one where, yeah, this one. Smoked Gorgon, whatever. Like 4 of each of these, and you get 8 victory points. I think some of these ones might be a little bit more powerful. Maybe not. Maybe it's just, I don't know. But I like that whole enchantment aspect. You want to collect those resources and enchant to make the shops even better. But then again, fire up all those dragons and have these big combos. And I like those combos. And you're kind of helping everybody as you build up these shops. And so that just kind of speaks to the whole, like, you're competing, but it's like a whimsical setting. And so I really like that. This is actually a game, and I don't say this very often, but quite often, maybe we, as those who are in the board gaming hobby, we play a game and then we finish, we're like, that was good. What else can they add? Can they add more? What kind of expansions can be added to this game? I feel that this is a game that doesn't need any expansions. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, you could have just more shop cards. Yeah, you could, but I feel with the amount that are in here, your replayability and your variety is so high already. I don't know if it really even needs any of those. And I'm sure there will be promo ones coming out and this and that, and which is fine. But this is a game I just feel that it's good as it is. You don't need extra things just to like to bloat the game out or anything like that. I just think it's a really, really nice design. I didn't speak of these secret goals. I think these are pretty cool. You know, I always go for these. I seem to always have like 5 of them or 6 of them. Or 7. I have a bunch of these at the end because I'm always thinking in my head, oh, I can get more victory points by this, or maybe I can like have a big swing at the end where I flip over all my artisan dragons and win. Doesn't happen, but let's maybe not do that next time, Brent. But I like those as well. The thing that the playmat, as much as I love the playmat and the stitch edging, it's long and it's a little awkward. It says this plays up to 5 players. I played it once at 5 player, and unless you have a really long table where you can have 3 people on one side and 2 on the other, this doesn't really work at 5 players just for the fact, the game works, but for the fact that the board or the mat or whatever you want to call it, oh, it is a mat, but it's so long. If you're sitting at the end of the table, for you to see everything at the other end, it's a little challenging. But overall, like this is a 90% chance of meeples. This game is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what else to say about it. I love this game. Flamecraft. If you're on the fence and you like worker placement, you like amazing artwork, you just love combos and a little engine building. Mind you, everybody can use the engines that are being built. If you love all those things, check out Flamecraft. 90% chance of meeples. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Till next time, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to grab your umbrella because the forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.